Ryan's office revenge.
The moment I walked into that Pentagon City conference room, Brandon Walsh pointed to a folding chair in the corner. Not the mahogany table where the other executives sat, not even a regular chair. A metal folding chair like you'd find in a church basement. "Consultants sit over there," he said without looking up from his tablet. "This discussion is above your clearance level." The name's Ryan Matthews, by the way. 47 years old, and I've been handling defense contracts since before this kid learned what a security clearance was. 23 years since I left the Marines, but some lessons stick, like showing up early, like bringing the right documents, like not backing down when someone tries to put you in your place. I set my briefcase down next to the folding chair but didn't sit. The leather case held the signed authorization papers for an $850 million defense contract. Walsh's company needed that money to deliver their new battlefield communication system to the Pentagon. Without it, they'd miss every deadline and lose their government clearance. "I'm here as requested," I said, keeping my voice level. Walsh finally looked up. "Then sit where you're told. The adults are talking business." A few chuckles around the table. Scott, the finance guy, looked uncomfortable. Kevin and Aaron, two board members, smiled like they were watching a good show. The red recording light on the security camera stayed steady, standard protocol for any meeting involving classified defense contracts. I stayed standing. "There's something you should know before we start." Walsh's head tilted like a dog hearing a strange noise. "What's that?" "If you want me sitting in that corner chair," I said, "then by Thursday morning, $850 million won't be part of this contract anymore." The room went quiet. Then Lucas, another board member, actually laughed out loud. "Sure thing, Grandpa," he said. "Maybe you can threaten us with your walking stick next." More laughter. Walsh grinned and shook his head like he was dealing with a confused old man. "Enough," he said. "Sit down and let the professionals work. Look, I should explain how we got here. 6 months earlier, Walsh's defense tech company had won a major Pentagon bid for next-generation battlefield communications. Big contract, bigger ego, but they needed private capital to fund the initial development phase. The kind of money that comes with serious strings attached. My firm specializes in defense contractor financing. We've been doing it since the Cold War, back when handshake deals actually meant something. When Walsh's people first reached out, they were all smiles and honor to work with a veteran and respect for your service, right up until they thought they had the money locked down. The meeting that day was supposed to be a rubber stamp. Sign the final paperwork, release the funds, everyone goes home happy. Walsh had specifically requested I attend in person. "Important to have all stakeholders present," his assistant had said. I'd driven down from Baltimore, cleared my schedule for the whole afternoon, even brought Cuban cigars for after we closed the deal. Should have saved the gas money. Walsh pulled up his presentation on the wall screen. Timelines, technical specifications, confident projections about delivery dates they'd probably never hit. He talked like he was briefing generals, explaining basic military concepts to people who'd actually served. "These deployment schedules are aggressive," Scott said. He was one of the few people in the room old enough to remember when defense contracts actually got delivered on time. "They're necessary, not aggressive," Walsh shot back. "That's why we brought in outside capital." Amanda, another board member, nodded along. "If they don't like the terms, they can find another contractor." Walsh smiled at that. "They won't. We're the only game in town." I shifted my briefcase from one hand to the other. The motion caught a few glances. "You can leave that outside," Walsh said, not bothering to look at me. "We don't need consultants weighing in on technical specifications." "I'll keep it here." His head turned slightly. "That wasn't a request. The case contains the authorization documents." A pause. Several people looked up from their papers. The incoming CFO watched our exchange, then looked away again. "We're not here to debate paperwork," Walsh said. "We're here to finalize the transfer." "Transfers require proper authorization," I replied. That got more attention. Walsh folded his hands like a teacher about to explain something to a slow student. "And who exactly do you represent in this room?" "The Capitol." Brief quiet. Not confusion. More like irritation. "That's being handled by our legal team," Walsh said. "Thanks for your input." Scott spoke up, more carefully this time. "We still haven't received final authorization confirmation." "Legal will handle it," Walsh snapped. "Let's move on." The discussion got louder after that, like volume could make the problems go away. I listened and watched who nodded when Walsh spoke, who smiled at his jokes. who stayed quiet when questions needed real answers. They'd decided who I was the moment I walked in with gray hair and a briefcase instead of a laptop. Former military meant outdated. Consultant meant expendable. They were wrong on both counts. Scott tried again. Before we continue, we need confirmation on fund authorization. Walsh waved it off. That's just paperwork. It's not, Scott said. Not at this level. Walsh's eyes narrowed. We've been working on this for months. Scott glanced at me. Quick look, then back to Walsh. Final release requires direct authorization. Walsh followed Scott's look, irritation sharpening. From legal. From the fund administrator. Scott corrected him quietly. From the contract authority. The room shifted. People stopped typing on their tablets. I met Walsh's gaze. That would be me. He studied my face like he was looking for some kind of tell, some sign I was bluffing. You're saying you control the contract funds. I'm saying I'm the designated authority for this specific defense contract. Nicole, one of the younger board members, scoffed. You? Yes. Walsh leaned forward in his chair. How much authority are we talking about? All of it. The room got very quiet. The private defense fund, I continued, accounts for the entire $850 million commitment. Without it, this contract cannot proceed. That's not what we were told, Walsh said. That's because nobody asked the right person. His expression started changing then, the kind of change that happens when someone realizes they might have made a serious mistake. And you felt the need to handle this personally? I insisted on it. Why? Because the last defense contract I delegated got canceled under poor management, cost the contractor their clearance and their business. Another pause. This one felt heavier. Scott nodded once. He's listed as primary authorization on all our paperwork. Walsh's voice got cooler. This meeting was supposed to be about final coordination. Final coordination requires someone who can approve the release, I said, or deny it. The incoming CFO finally found his voice. So this isn't just ceremonial. It never was. Walsh straightened up in his chair. Then maybe we should restart with proper introductions. We can, I said, if that's what you want. He hesitated, just for a moment, but long enough for me to see the wheels turning. See, I'd been invited into that room to decide whether $850 million in defense funding would move forward. I'd agreed to come in person because trust matters in government contracting. Because accountability does. They hadn't seen that. They'd seen an old Marine with a briefcase who didn't fit their image of modern defense tech. I watched them recalibrate, one face at a time. Walsh found his rhythm again quickly. Now that everyone's role is clear, he said, we can proceed with the coordination meeting. Scott hesitated. There is one item we still need to address. Walsh didn't look at him. We've covered the technical specifications. Scott tapped the folder in front of him. The conduct provision. Walsh's eyes lifted. That clause was standard government language. It wasn't, Scott replied. It was customized. I didn't interrupt. I let them find the details themselves. Nicole flipped through her copy of the contract. Here, Section 15. The incoming CFO leaned over to read. What does it say? Scott answered slowly. It ties fund release to professional conduct during all contract negotiations. Any documented behavior that materially damages working relationships allows for immediate contract suspension. Aaron finished reading the fine print. Without prior notice. Walsh exhaled hard. That's just legal protection. It's theoretical. It's operational, I said quietly. He turned to me. Our lawyers approved that language. They drafted it, I replied. At my specific request. A beat passed. You were concerned about professional conduct? Walsh asked. I was concerned about respect. Lucas glanced toward the security camera mounted near the ceiling. This meeting is being recorded. Standard procedure, Walsh said quickly. Security protocol. Yes, I said, for documentation. Scott adjusted his reading glasses. The provision doesn't require intent to cause damage, only documented impact and witness verification, Amanda added. Plus, the recording serves as evidence. Walsh closed his contract folder. This is getting off track. It's part of the signed agreement, Scott said, filed with Pentagon procurement and legally binding. The incoming CFO spoke up. Has this conduct clause ever been triggered? Once, I said. The room went quiet again. How did that end? He asked. The contractor lost their clearance and went out of business within 6 months. Walsh stood up. We're taking a 15-minute break. Chairs pushed back, conversations broke into whispers. Nobody made eye contact with me. As people filed out, the security camera kept recording, red light steady and indifferent. I stayed seated for a moment, then stood and followed the others into the hallway. The corridor outside was quieter, but not empty. 2 board members stood near the elevators, voices low. They stopped talking when they saw me. Walsh walked past without acknowledging me, already on his phone, already trying to manage the situation. Scott caught up to me near the water fountain. "Ryan, we need to talk." "Not yet," I replied. He nodded once. "Understood." I found a quiet alcove and took out my secure phone. 1 number. No hesitation. "Go ahead," the voice answered. "My business partner back in Baltimore." "Initiate the suspension protocol," I said. "Defense contract 7749-Alpha. Brief pause. "Full suspension?" "Yes." "Effective in 48 hours per standard procedures." "Reason code?" "Professional conduct violation. Documentation in progress." "Copy that. Pentagon notification will go out tomorrow morning." The line went dead. I didn't check my watch. I didn't second-guess the decision. 23 years of dealing with defense contractors teaches you when someone's crossed the line. When I turned back toward the conference room, Walsh was standing near the door. He looked less confident now, less sure of his position. "Look," he said, "maybe we got off on the wrong foot." "Maybe," I replied. His jaw tightened. "You could have clarified your role from the start." I tried. "That's not what I mean." "I know." He stepped aside to let me pass. Back inside, the room was trying to reset itself. Papers reorganized, coffee cups refilled, voices attempting their previous confidence. Walsh looked up as I took my seat. "We'll resume in 2 minutes." I placed my phone on the table, screen down. My briefcase stayed beside my chair. Scott watched me carefully. He didn't ask any questions. Smart man. The wall screen came back to life with projections that assumed $850 million still existed where it had that morning. Timelines that marched forward like nothing had changed in the last hour. I folded my hands and waited. Walsh clicked to the next slide. As we were discussing, the deployment timeline requires immediate fund release to meet the first milestone. "When do you need confirmation?" Kevin asked. "By end of business Thursday," Walsh replied. "Pentagon wants to see progress by Friday." "That's 2 days from now," Amanda noted. "Correct, which is why we need to wrap this up today." I cleared my throat. "There's been a development." All eyes turned to me. "The Pentagon will receive formal notification tomorrow morning that this contract is under administrative review." Walsh's face went pale. "What kind of review?" "Conduct assessment. Standard procedure when professional standards are questioned." "That's not possible," he said. "We haven't signed anything yet. The review covers all pre-contract negotiations," I replied, "including this meeting." Scott leaned forward. "How long does that review typically take?" "Minimum 48 hours? Maximum 30 days, depending on findings." Walsh stood up fast. "You can't do this. We have deadlines." "I can," I said. "And I have." "You don't understand," he said, voice rising. "We'll miss our Pentagon milestones. They'll cancel the entire program." "That's possible." Nicole spoke up. "What would it take to stop the review?" I looked around the table. "Nothing. It's already in motion." Walsh slammed his hand down. "This is blackmail. This is consequences," I replied. The incoming CFO was already pulling out his phone. "I need to call our legal team." "Good idea," I said. Walsh turned to his board members. "We can fight this. Challenge the provision." Scott shook his head. "We signed it. It's binding. There has to be something we can do." "There is," I said. Everyone looked at me. "Learn from it." Walsh's voice dropped to almost a whisper. "You're really going to destroy this company over a seating arrangement?" "I'm going to uphold professional standards," I replied. "The Pentagon expects contractors who can work respectfully with their oversight personnel. You've demonstrated that you can't." He opened his mouth to argue, then seemed to realize there was nothing left to say. Around the table, people started gathering their papers, speaking in lower voices, already distancing themselves from what was happening. I picked up my briefcase. "The review notification goes out at 0800 tomorrow," I said. "Pentagon procurement will receive a full report by Thursday noon." And for the first time since I'd walked into that room, Brandon Walsh understood that his company's future had just changed forever. The call came at 6:30 the next morning. Walsh's voice, tight and controlled. Ryan, we need to talk. I was already up, having coffee and reading the Pentagon procurement updates on my secure tablet. What about? You know what about? The review notification went out an hour ago, right on schedule. My board called an emergency meeting for this afternoon. They want answers. I took another sip of coffee. What kind of answers? The kind that might save this company. That's between you and your board. A long pause. What would it take to withdraw the review? It doesn't work that way. Pentagon procedure is Pentagon procedure. There has to be something. There is, I said. Wait for the results. You know what the results will be. I know what they should be. He exhaled hard. Look, I get it. I was out of line yesterday. But destroying an entire company over what? I interrupted. Over treating oversight personnel like garbage? Over assuming respect is optional in defense contracting? Another pause. When he spoke again, his voice was quieter. What do you want from me? Nothing, I said. I wanted basic professional courtesy, yesterday. In that meeting. And now? Now it's out of my hands. The line went dead. I finished my coffee and drove to the office. My business partner, Steve, was already there with a stack of Pentagon communications. How bad is it for them? He asked. I scanned the official review notice, standard language, but the implications were clear. Walsh's company will be flagged in the system within 24 hours. Any active bids will be held pending review completion. How many contracts are they bidding on? According to our intelligence, 4. Total value around $2.3 billion. Steve whistled low. That'll get the board's attention. Already has. Emergency meeting this afternoon. Think they'll try to replace Walsh. Too late for that. The review covers company culture and management practices. Changing CEOs mid-process just confirms there was a problem. My secure phone buzzed. Text message from a Pentagon contact, review team assigned. Expect preliminary findings by Thursday evening. I showed Steve the message. Faster than usual. High priority contract, he said. Plus the documentation is pretty clear-cut. Around noon, I got another call, this time from Scott, the finance director. Ryan, I hope you don't mind me reaching out directly. Not at all. The board meeting is intense. Walsh is trying to blame this on miscommunication. What's your read? Half the board wants his head. The other half wants to fight the review. Fighting won't work. Pentagon doesn't back down on conduct issues. That's what I tried to tell them. But Walsh has convinced some people that this is just bureaucratic overreach. What's your position? I think we should have treated you with respect from minute one. But I'm not the CEO. No, I said. You're not. Is there any chance this review comes back favorable for us? I thought about the recording, the witnesses, the documented conduct provision that had been triggered. Scott, I'm going to be straight with you. The Pentagon takes contractor conduct very seriously, especially when it involves treatment of oversight personnel. Your company demonstrated yesterday that respect is optional in your corporate culture. I understand. The review will likely recommend enhanced oversight for any future contracts, possibly suspension from certain bid categories. For how long? Could be 6 months, could be 2 years. Depends on what else they find when they dig deeper. Scott was quiet for a moment. Any advice? Document everything that happened yesterday. Get your legal team ready for a thorough investigation, and maybe start looking for new leadership. Thanks for being honest. Good luck, Scott. Wednesday evening, Steve and I were reviewing quarterly reports when my phone rang. Unknown number. This is Ryan. Mr. Matthews? This is Colonel Patricia Hayes from Pentagon Procurement Review. Do you have a few minutes? Of course. I'm calling about the Walsh Defense Technologies Review. I've finished the preliminary assessment. What did you find? The documentation is comprehensive. Security camera footage, signed conduct provisions, multiple witnesses, very straightforward case. What's your recommendation? Immediate suspension from all active bids, enhanced oversight requirements for any future contracts. Minimum review period of 18 months before full reinstatement. I felt no satisfaction. Just confirmation that processes work when they're followed correctly. When will this be finalized? Report goes to procurement leadership tomorrow morning. Official notification to the contractor by end of business Thursday. Thank you, Colonel. One more thing, Mr. Matthews. This is exactly the kind of accountability we need in defense contracting. Professional conduct matters. Yes, ma'am, it does. Thursday morning brought a final call from Walsh. His voice sounded hollow. It's over, isn't it? You'll have the official notification this afternoon. 18-month suspension. Our lawyers say that's basically a death sentence for a company our size. That's possible. You destroyed us. No, I said. You did. I just documented it. Over a folding chair, over respect, over the assumption that oversight personnel are disposable, over treating experience like it's a liability instead of an asset. The board fired me an hour ago. I'm sorry to hear that. Are you really? I thought about it. Yeah, I am. This didn't have to happen. What happens to my people? The engineers, the project managers, the support staff? That depends on whoever takes over. Maybe they'll learn something from this. And maybe they won't. Maybe not. A long silence. For what it's worth, Walsh said, I get it now. What I did wrong. Do you? Respect isn't something you give after someone proves they deserve it. It's something you give because they're human. That's a start. Too late for a start. Maybe. But it's something. He hung up without saying goodbye. Thursday evening, the Pentagon made it official. Walsh Defense Technologies was suspended from all federal contracting for 18 months. The company's stock dropped 40% in after-hours trading. Friday morning, I read that they'd announced a strategic restructuring and new leadership focused on cultural excellence. Corporate speak for, we're probably going out of business, but we're going to try not to. Steve found me in my office reading the news coverage. Feel good about it? He asked. Feel necessary about it, I replied. There's a difference? Yeah, there is. He nodded and left me alone with the newspaper. The headline read, Defense Contractor Loses Clearance Over Conduct Violations. Somewhere in that story was a lesson about respect and accountability. Whether anyone would learn it remained to be seen. Part 4. The Aftermath. 6 months later, I was sitting in my Baltimore office when Steve knocked and walked in with a newspaper. You might want to see this, he said, setting it on my desk. The headline read, Walsh Defense Technologies Files for Bankruptcy Protection. I scanned the article. Asset liquidation, employee layoffs, contract obligations transferred to competitors. The whole company, gone. Feel good about it now? Steve asked. Feel the same as I felt 6 months ago, I replied. Actions have consequences. Even for the 200 people who lost their jobs, especially for them. They deserved leadership that wouldn't tank their company over a folding chair. Steve sat down across from my desk. Pentagon called this morning. They want to discuss the Raytheon oversight contract. What about it? Apparently word gets around. They specifically requested you for the conduct compliance role. I leaned back in my chair. How much? $12 million, 3-year term. They want someone who will actually hold contractors accountable. Interesting. More than interesting. It's a new kind of contract. Pentagon's creating a whole program around contractor conduct oversight. They're calling it the Professional Standards Initiative. Because of what happened with Walsh? Because of what happened with Walsh and apparently a dozen other incidents they haven't made public. Defense contractors treating oversight like an inconvenience instead of a partnership. I thought about that. So one folding chair turns into a government program. One folding chair and one person willing to document it properly. The secure phone on my desk buzzed. Text from Colonel Hayes. Professional Standards Initiative approved. Interested in leading the pilot program? I showed Steve the message. That's a big deal, he said. You'd basically be writing the playbook for how defense contractors treat oversight personnel. Yeah, it is. You interested? Before I could answer, my regular phone rang. Unknown number. This is Ryan, Mr. Matthews. This is Jennifer Walsh. I recognized the name. Brandon Walsh's daughter. I'd seen her mentioned in some of the news coverage about the company's collapse. What can I do for you? I wanted to thank you. That caught me off guard. Thank me? For holding my father accountable. For not letting him get away with treating people badly. I'm not sure thanks are necessary. They are. You probably don't know this, but my dad treated everyone that way. Employees, vendors, family. He thought being successful gave him the right to be disrespectful. I'm sorry to hear that. The bankruptcy was hard, really hard, but it forced him to look at himself, to understand why his company failed. How's he doing now? Better. He's in therapy, working on himself. For the first time in years, he's actually listening when people talk. That's good. He wanted to call you himself, but he wasn't sure you'd want to hear from him. What would he have said? That you were right. That respect isn't optional. That leadership means treating everyone with dignity, not just the people who can help you. I looked out my office window at the Baltimore harbor. Tell him I appreciate that. I will. And Mr. Matthews? There's something else. What's that? I'm starting my own company. Defense consulting, but focused on helping contractors build better workplace cultures. I learned from what happened to my dad's company. That sounds like important work. It is. And I wanted to ask if you'd consider being an advisor. I know that might be awkward, given the history. Why would you want me involved? Because you held a line that needed to be held. Because you didn't compromise on principles just to avoid conflict. Because the defense industry needs more people like you. I thought about the Pentagon's new program. About 200 people losing their jobs because their CEO couldn't show basic respect. About the dozens of other incidents Colonel Hayes had mentioned. Send me your business plan, I said. I'll take a look. Really? Really? But Jennifer? Yes? If you ever treat anyone the way your father treated me that day, I'll shut you down just as fast. She laughed. I wouldn't expect anything less. After she hung up, Steve was grinning at me. What? You're going soft in your old age. I'm 47, not 67, and I'm not going soft. I'm being practical. How do you figure? Better to help build good companies than keep tearing down bad ones. Steve nodded. So what about the Pentagon program? I picked up my phone and started typing a response to Colonel Hayes. What are you telling her? That I'm interested. With conditions, such as full authority to suspend contracts for conduct violations, real-time documentation requirements, and mandatory respect training for all contractor executives. Think they'll agree to that? If they want the program to work, they will. I finished the text and hit send. Within 30 seconds, my phone buzzed with a reply. All conditions approved. When can you start? Steve read the message over my shoulder. Looks like you're about to become the Pentagon's conduct enforcement guy. Looks like it. Any second thoughts? I thought about Brandon Walsh's voice on that last phone call. About his daughter learning from his mistakes. About 200 people losing their jobs because one person couldn't show basic respect. None. That evening, I was packing up my office when I found the Cuban cigars I'd brought to that Pentagon City meeting 6 months earlier. Still in their original box. Never opened. I thought about throwing them away. Then I thought about saving them for when the Professional Standards Initiative was up and running, for when defense contractors understood that respect wasn't optional, for when people like Brandon Walsh learned to shake hands instead of pointing at folding chairs. I put the cigars in my briefcase and headed home. Some lessons are worth the wait. The next morning, I drove back to Pentagon City for my first meeting as director of the Professional Standards Initiative. Same building, different conference room. When I walked in, 12 defense contractor executives stood up and waited for me to sit down before taking their own seats. Nobody pointed to a folding chair. Progress. You know what I learned that day in Pentagon City? Respect isn't something you give people after they prove they deserve it. It's something you give them because they're human beings sitting at the same table. And when you forget that simple truth, it doesn't matter how smart you are or how much money you control, you'll eventually find yourself explaining to an empty boardroom why your company doesn't exist anymore.